So welcome to Ecom Engine's webinar today. I'm Becky Trowbridge. I'm the digital marketing manager here, and I'm going to let my lovely cast of presenters introduce themselves. So we'll kick it off with Megan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan King. I'm a senior account manager at Tenuity. Been here for 5 years and excited to talk to you about Q4 prep today.
Yeah, I'm Gabe Ray with Evolve Commerce, one of the co-founders and our chief revenue officer. Excited to share some insights into how you can grow sales on Amazon during the busy holiday season.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Rob Stanley. I'm chief evangelist for Getida. We're the global leader in refunds and reimbursements for Amazon sellers. And I've actually sold online for over 20 years, so I could probably handle a lot of different areas, including YouTube and Amazon, you name it. So looking forward to helping everybody out.
Awesome. Well, we brought everyone together because, we're approaching Q4. We've learned that Amazon is for sure doing Prime Big Deal Days, which is kind of like sort of a second Prime Day. So you've got a lot coming up in Q4, and we want to make sure that everyone's prepared for the best holiday season possible. So today we're going to talk about a lot of different topics, ranging from AI, new Amazon features, your ad strategy, just kind of get into all of it. And then we're going to leave plenty of time to answer all of your questions. So please keep those coming in through the chat. And if it's related to what we're talking about at the moment, I'll just jump in if our presenters are okay with that and ask. And then if not, we'll just kind of circle up at the end and make sure that we get to all of your questions. We are recording the webinar today, and we'll be sure to send it out afterwards. I should actually have it to you all this afternoon. So if there's something you want to come back to, you should be able to do that relatively soon. So I just wanted to kick off really quickly, just kind of highlighting, there's a lot happening in the next 3 months. Obviously, we know October, November, December are very busy, but just the sheer number of holidays and kind of gift giving times. And also, I'm already kind of eyeing deals for myself. I don't know about all of you. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's a really good time to stock up on things. So I think a lot of consumers are looking for a really good deals this holiday season. And we'll talk a little bit about how to set those deals and how to advertise without impacting your bottom line too much in the negative way. And then just a couple of key dates. So Megan told me that the Prime Big Deal Days deals were actually due on August 11th, but she has some other options that we'll talk about a little later. And then your FBA inventory for Prime Big Deal Days is coming up. It needs to be arriving at fulfillment centers by September 12th. And then for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we're looking at deals due this Friday, September 1st. And I know Megan will talk a little bit more about that. And then FBA inventory needs to get to the fulfillment centers by October 26th. So I just kind of wanted to kick it off, and I have a few slides with some topics, and I'm just going to kind of pick on people and let them talk. And then we'll just open it up to questions, like I said. So I really wanted to start with retail readiness. I think Gabe and Megan, with your experience as an agency and with running ads at Tenuity, that being retail ready is obviously really important, especially through the holidays. So I just kind of wanted to open that up, and Megan, I'll have you kick us off.
Yeah, I really think retail readiness and having all your detail page completely optimized going into Q4 and any period really is so vital. We always say you don't want to spend ad dollars to a page that's not going to convert. So you really want to make sure your detail page, titles, images, content is all optimized. You have good images on site. One of the things that we're kind of doing is even reading some negative reviews and looking at ways to optimize our content and help customer understanding going into Q4 in a way to reduce negative reviews, negative feedback, or also help customer understanding. So really think taking the time to go through reviews now so that when you do maximize sales, you're kind of reducing your negative feedback, if you will, or kind of proactively informing customers why they should buy. It's really important to do that starting now.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. That's a big thing that we talk about here at Ecom Engine, just really using those negative ratings to learn, because obviously if there's something that isn't going well, you want to fix it as soon as possible. So you want to try to resolve the customer situation. Obviously, whatever happened for that one negative review or negative feedback if possible, but especially looking at negative feedback, if there's something wrong with your packaging, you need to know about that and you need to get something in place right away. So
Right away
really,
before you ship in a bunch of units
yeah.
going into Q4. So, Gabe, what do you recommend at this time?
Yeah, no,
prepping?
to touch on that same note, that's something we really love to look at too, because you think about it, they're going to have this boom in sales over the next several months. And then what happens with everybody, and what we don't usually anticipate, is the huge returns that all happen in that first week or two or the whole month of January. Because yeah, you didn't pay attention to negative reviews, or you weren't looking at, hey, how are people interpreting our listing? And so we like to go through and kind of revamp listings going into Q4, where we're looking at, yeah, titles, bullet points, product descriptions, what images and videos, the infographics that are there. Because at the end of the day, you have to educate that consumer. And especially now, as we lead into these holidays, we want to make sure that we're providing as much information to the consumer on the page so that they learn about it, because everybody's window shopping right now. Like we were joking kind of before, we're already all kind of looking at deals. We're trying to figure out what are we going to go buy. So everybody's adding things to cart. So right now, even months before people are going to start buying things, they're adding it to their list and to their favorites. Now we need to be prepping and get everything looking good. But even before that, like you talked about, optimizing these listings, especially for mobile, that's a big priority for us, because now over 50% of people are shopping on mobile devices, whether it's their phone or a tablet. And so making sure like your title is not so long that it gets truncated, or that your bullet points aren't so crazy long that no one can actually read them, or they have to click, the down arrow to actually read more, which if you're like me, you probably don't do that. So then all of a sudden, half the information you provided it's valuable to the algorithm and to Amazon, but the consumer may not ever read it. And then they return a product because, well, they didn't read the 5th bullet point or the 6th bullet point or whatever it was. So just making sure that you've looked through your listing, send it to friends and family, have people read it and say, what's missing? Like, do you understand what this product really is, what it does, what makes it different? And then, yeah, like you said, then send in all your product, get everything rolling, and push your ads and everything else once you are retail ready.
I'm so glad you mentioned mobile, because who is reading all of those bullet points on mobile? You really need to make sure you have good images that summarize your features and benefits so that a customer can make a purchasing decision within like 3 seconds on mobile. You don't want them to have to read through all of your bullets to understand, when you could add an infographic with a couple of call outs. One of the other things I wanted to call out was new items. I work in the beauty space, and so a lot of the times we do holiday kits or holiday scents for products. And so it does take some time for products to start ramping in relevancy and sales on Amazon. And so if you have a new product that's launching October 1st, how are you going to get that relevancy ahead of time? So that's something that we do plan ahead of with our beauty brands that have holiday specific deals. Where are we going to leverage some external traffic to help bring visibility to those listings, to give them the best possibility and the best chance in winning in Q4 without having all of the history and relevancy like existing items do on Amazon? So I think new items are really important to create their own unique strategy around and make sure they have the best opportunity for launch going into Q4.
Yeah, and Megan, I want to piggyback just a little on that. If you are getting ready to launch or just launching, or let's say it's even newly launched, working on that external traffic will definitely help with that. Amazon likes to see that external traffic coming in. For instance, YouTube, right? Let's say you had a YouTube video and you're talking about the product, or you're showing how the product's using, and in that description, you have a link that's linking to that actual Amazon product. Actually, Amazon likes that. They like to see that external traffic coming in. And YouTube's just one example. Any of the other platforms, Instagram, even actually Pinterest, to be honest, is still not, it's underutilized, and people should be utilizing it, and with those images you have, with the links. But it actually will help your ranking, and especially if you're just launching that new product, to kind of build that ranking up with the external traffic.
And you can now advertise on Pinterest, right? There's a partnership. Yep.
Absolutely.
Great. I think that's a good place to kick off. I wanted to talk, Megan, I think ads are so complicated. Like, they're not, but they are. And I think that there's a lot, especially with big deal days, especially with Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You've got a really busy time. What are we doing with our budgets? What's the strategy? How do you prepare? What do you do afterwards?
Well, and then Amazon just launched new sponsored product ads off Amazon. So new placements for advertising campaigns right in the kickstart of, the busiest time of year. So really, do we need to adjust? Do we need to do things differently? Where are we going to be showing up? So really, it's going to be a lot of learning this Q4 with those sponsored ad or sponsored product off-site placements. Really, we do always kind of recommend a ramp up in budget for PPC on the back half of the year. You are going to have to estimate that CPCs are going to inflate to 3x, especially in heavily indexed deal categories. Coming out of July Prime, beauty was a huge category, home and fashion. And so really, if you are working in those categories, I would absolutely assume that you are going to have to spend more to make more, and also you might have to sacrifice on profitability. So one of the things that we're doing now in preparation is really finding those honey holes of opportunity. Where are these long tail? Where are these underutilized campaigns and tactics that we can go explore and maximize, so that we're not just bidding on a generic non-branded keyword that everybody else is bidding on. So really doing that research now, coming out of Prime Day, we're about 60 days out. And so we have good data of what happened and what customers were searching. Where can you really find those areas of opportunity and wiggle rooms that other people aren't? Go maximize those, and then know that you're going to have to spend more to make more, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to jump in there too, I think what's important is, and the way we position this with a lot of our clients that we work with, is it's a promotional budget, it's a marketing budget, because what happens is, like you said, there's that lead up to the event, then there's the actual day or weekend or whatever long event that it is. But what we find is that because you invested in those keywords early and you cemented yourself in a good position, both through paid ads, but also organically, you start to earn those positions because you're getting conversions on those keywords, that for the trailing 2 or 3 weeks after the event, you actually see a bump in your overall sales because organically you're ranking better. And so, like, for example, to use Prime Day that we just went through in July, most of our clients saw 2 to 3x like sales of a normal day, but then for the next 2 weeks, they were still, almost double what they were normally selling on an average day. And it was because their keyword rankings had jumped so much from those conversions. And so, yes, they had to pay a little bit more upfront, but when you look at it from a bigger window and you looked at it from like the full month or a 6-week period, their ROAS or their ACoS and everything actually stayed pretty stable. But sometimes we just get too narrow-minded and say, like, you're looking at it day to day or week to week, and you're like, man, we spent way too much money this week. But you have to look at the trailing effects of what happens after the event. And that's really what you're prepping for now, is these next 3 months. Yeah, we got to buckle down and spend money. But then all through Q1, we still reap some of the benefits of it.
And I was just going to mention, have those ads ready now, and specific ads, right? If we're going into, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holiday season, if there's anything specific, have those ads, have tested those ads, run some A/B testing on those ads already, so they're ready ahead of time. So many times you see people, they get the week before, let's say, a Black Friday, and they're like scrambling to get an ad done. You want to already have those ready, have those tested. And I would even run them a little early. And we're starting to see a trend where people are starting to advertise and drop prices and make changes to more specific, let's say, like just sticking with the Black Friday theme. We're starting to see it on Monday, sometimes even like the week before. So maybe start running those ads and putting it on sale a little earlier, and maybe beat your competition where they're doing it the day of, or 48 hours before, 24 hours before. You maybe are doing it the week before, if you're willing to take that, be ready for that. So that's just something I would think about.
I think the early bird gets the worm almost is becoming kind of a trend. Yeah. And even we're seeing our Amazon vendor managers almost encourage that with an early Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal submission. So we were asked to submit for the 2 weeks before Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And really, you do typically see conversion drop because of window shopping. But I do think as people are starting to see more deals across retailers, they're kind of planning their purchasing periods accordingly and buying when they feel best and when they feel like they're getting the best deal. So if that's before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, serve them that deal. And so really making your own personal KPI. Do we want to be one before Black Friday, Cyber Monday? how do we get there? Do we want to be number one coming out of there? So really creating a KPI now and running tests so that you can be successful in meeting that metric and mark in Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I love that test now, so that you have that good strategy implemented when it actually happens and you're not scrambling. I know our marketing team hates that when they're like, oh, I found this keyword and it's the day before Black Friday. Let's create a campaign. That will never work. You miss the moment. So do that research now.
I think they also need to be, go ahead, Gabe. Sorry, I was gonna say, we got to be careful too, not to do too far ahead, right? Like we saw the whole trend with, it used to be, on Black Friday, stores weren't open and now they're open on Thanksgiving. And now, so it's like, also feel out like your audience. You don't want to start doing it 3 weeks before, right? There's a happy medium or a good spot. You should be running these. And we're starting to see it, like, some of these stores even are starting to do, and you see the trend happen, right? Nobody was doing it until Black Friday. Now they're doing it on Thanksgiving. Now they're doing it the day before Thanksgiving, but there's going to be a point you go too far back. So be a little careful that you're not going too far back. And just to kind of reiterate what Megan was saying, like me as a buyer, I'm going in and literally just like list all these items I want to buy. And then on Black Friday, I go look at that list, but I've also made little notes on what was the price before that, just to see, did they drop it? I'm okay paying that price, but I just want to see if maybe they have a little coupon deal or something. Sorry, Gabe, I didn't mean to jump in on that. Go ahead.
No, that leads into what I was going to say is when we look at, like, I think a lot of people don't understand like the attribution period, right? So if somebody clicks on an ad a week before, you still get credit for that if they check out on Black Friday. So if you run an ad the Friday before or the weekend before the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that's why it's important. And that's why Amazon always says, like, roughly 2 weeks before, you kind of have that 14-day window. So start running those ads, a week to a week and a half before, because you're still getting value out of that ad. It's not like just wasting a click on a view. You're actually still going to get credit for that sale that happens. Like Rob said, you add it to your cart or you add it to your list, then they check out, a week later. You're still getting that return on that ad spend. And so it's still very valuable. Sometimes we think that mindset of like, we run that sale or the ad platform like the day before because we don't want to waste money. You're really not wasting that money. You're gaining a lot, both in sales and in momentum for those keywords.
Well, one of the things that you said earlier, Gabe, was about the halo effect and the long term, right? And so Amazon has given us great tools in sponsored display, manage your customer engagement, and some audience retargeting, remarketing to be able to say, like, hey, you saw my ad 14 days ago and you didn't purchase, let me reserve you. And so really using this whole Q4 period, starting with Fall Prime, the early deal days in October, as that, hey, let's show to a new customers, let's try and service them so that as we progress during Q4, they are going to convert by the time they see our Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal, right? We're reaching them along their entire shopping journey and staying in their forefront because that attribution window is so long, because the halo effect can be up to, 4 to 6 weeks after you run a deal.
Yeah, great point. All right, so coming off of ads, I want to talk about promos and discounts. I know profitability has been a huge topic in the Amazon space for a long time, but we're all thinking about. We know that people are looking for deals, but how can sellers offer deals without hurting themselves? And in some cases, and I think Rob, maybe you and I could speak to this a little bit when it comes to clearing out some excess inventory, and maybe you have an old model of something that you're just trying to sell. Like sometimes it might make sense to sell at a loss just to get things out of the fulfillment centers, especially with the holiday peak fulfillment fee and some of the other additional charges. I think UPS is raising prices again, and I know USPS just raised prices, so costs for shipping and fulfillment are higher than ever. So I know there's a nuance here, right? Like sometimes it might make sense to have a really huge deal, but I think most of the time there's probably a happy medium. So I'd like to hear what you all think.
Yeah, I'm happy to kind of jump in on this. So, I was a seller at one point up until I exited in 2018. And that was one thing we kind of had the 80-20 rule, right? You're making 20% of your money on 80% of your money on 20% of your products, right? If you have a product that, let's say you're on a version 2, you got to get rid of that older version. You got to start thinking about, even if you're FBA or FBM, there's warehouse costs, right? There's warehouse costs on the FBA. And if you're FBM, you got to store it somewhere, especially if it's a facility. So there's always cost on something, but even if I take a loss just to get rid of it, I would do that to get rid of the older version or older products or things that are just not selling. Start clearing those out. You got to really look at like the big picture of it. You know, you might be saying, oh, I'm taking a loss on this, but the reality is you're going to take a bigger loss by sitting there waiting for this to sell at some point. And I see a lot of sellers do that, right? Oh, it'll sell, or it's selling, it's trickling, we'll get rid of it in the next 3 months. Well, what did you spend on warehouse cost to have that sitting around for those 3 months while you're waiting to do it? And the other thing I want to kind of say is that also, you know, coming in, let's say it is a new product and you're getting it going, I don't mind seeing customers sell it at that like break-even price, because as we just mentioned, that halo effect, maybe right after a Cyber Monday ends, you kind of bring that price back slightly where you're making profit. You're going to see us still run for the next couple of weeks of that selling if you built up enough momentum on it, and you'll make some of your money back on that. And also moving product obviously lets you buy more product, which hopefully gives you a better price point, right? So there's a lot of good reasons to keep that price with either a coupon or keep it low, and then you can you know, take advantage of that several different ways. So I do want to mention though, and we haven't mentioned this yet, there was a little bit of a change that happened recently with FBM. So there is a 2% fee. I think it either went into effect or is getting ready to go into effect. So even if you're fulfilling through your either warehouse or through a facility, they are going to start adding that 2% fee on as part of Amazon's, you know, whole game here. So be aware of that. So, you know, even if you're fulfilling it yourself, there is that fee going into effect right now. Megan, Gabe, go ahead.
Now, moving through long-term storage fee items is huge. I mean, historically pre-pandemic, it's, hey, you discount everything at a 30% off. That was the recommendation, and you just did it because everybody else was doing it. And so I really think that we've gotten more intentional and cost conscious in focusing on profitability. You didn't used to say profitability around a tentpole event. You just said, oh, we're just going to sell a lot and we're going to put the KPI as sales growth. But now businesses are looking at item level profitability and ranging their discounts accordingly. So I do think there's something to be said about, you know, kind of saving a discount on your hero items and say, okay, well, I'll give you a little bit to get the deal tag, but I know you're going to buy it at full price because, like Rob said, you know, 80% of your sales come from 20% of your product. Do you need to discount those 20% products at full discount, or maybe just a little bit to hit your goals? So really you can be intentional around discounting to hit your bottom line, focusing on slow movers, items you need to get out of the warehouse, or ones that aren't selling or are selling extremely well. We mentioned that deals were due for fall Prime days. Those were for best deals or Prime exclusive deals. You can always set up a coupon 48 hours before a deal event. So if you miss Amazon's deal deadlines for submission, you are always able to be nimble. So not on the PPC side would I ever recommend creating a campaign 2 days before it goes live, but on the coupons and promotion sides you can. So you can see what happened in fall Prime and then submit that for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Or what I'm kind of working with some clients on is setting different goals for each promotional period and saying, hey, for fall Prime, we want to move this product line, and we're going to put intention around this by doing a steeper discount here. For T5, we're going to put our intention here. We want to see this product line so that we're not just resting on our laurels and that top, 20% of our catalog. Really looking to kind of diversify and encourage customers to buy from the middle and not just look for those top items always on discount, because we do know that customers can get conditioned to be like, oh, well, this is always 30% off. I stock up during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and I never buy it the rest of the year. That is worst case.
Yeah,
Gabe, what are your thoughts?
we've run a lot of tests, like A/B testing with different, different size promotions and coupons and discounts. And it's interesting to see that even for a lot of things, even like a 5% coupon will get a ton, the click-through rates will jump, because people will see that little badge or that tag on there that says it's got a coupon, and we all get excited, we click on it. But yeah, getting the higher, obviously the higher the promotion and the higher the discount, you usually see a better conversion rate. But to your point, Megan, you also want to look at that profitability and understand, like, what is my goal? Am I trying to just clearance this product and move through it? And if that's the case, like Rob said, and you just need to clear space to clear out, fees, then by all means go heavy on the discounts. But on a lot of these people, what we've seen is a huge shift over the last few years, especially coming out of the pandemic. People are willing to spend money again. People are willing to spend a little bit more on, especially like luxury or nicer products. So you don't have to feel like, okay, I'm a higher priced item in this category, I got to go do a 30 or 40% discount just to compete. People will still buy it. You still offer them a small discount of 5% or whatever. But then especially in categories like you talked about beauty earlier and some of these other consumable categories, if you can get them in and then get them on that subscribe and save or subscription model, now you've locked them in, for the next 3, 6, 9 months, whatever it might be. And yeah, you had to eat a little bit up front, but now they become a loyalist to your brand and your product. And again, it's a long-term thing. I think too many people look at these events and these deal days as like, what am I going to do for those 2 or 3 days? But the lingering effects for months and even years beyond can be huge if it's a stable product. And to that 80-20 rule, like usually that 20% of products are your keystone products that you're going to keep forever. And so those are the ones that, you don't need to sacrifice as much on, because it's a long-term play. It's not a, what can I do in the next 2 or 3 months, but it's several years.
Yeah, Gabe, I want one thing I do want to add is don't get caught in the game. And I've seen this happen in buyers getting catching on to this thing. You'll see people start increasing the price of their product, let's say 30, 40% to discount it. Don't do that. First of all, Amazon will catch on to that and it'll actually hurt your ranking by doing that. And just don't do it. It looks bad. I see it, like I'll be shopping and I'll see it and I go, luckily, I have tools. I can look and see where that price was before they did that. So I know pretty quickly. The other thing I've seen, and I don't have the exact stats on this, but I can say that when I had my own website, I would actually run a coupon code at the very top of the website. You know how many people didn't take advantage of a code that was right in front of their face? But think of it this way, when you're putting something on discount, not everybody, or with a coupon code right within the listing, not everybody's going to take advantage of that. First of all, if you're on a phone and you're doing a buy it right on the spot, not a checkout, it doesn't ever show that code, by the way. So it does not show that coupon code unless you go into the listing description and click on the checkbox. So there's going to be a percentage of people that won't even take advantage of it or even know that you had it. So take advantage of that to you as the seller to be able to use those codes. So that will help offset. Like if we were talking about, hey, I'm going to do this and break even to move these products. Remember, there's going to be a little bit of fluctuation there that a certain amount of people won't take advantage of that coupon or that code checkbox, so to speak, and you'll maybe get a little bit of it back. That can help offset a little. So, but a couple of quick things there. Take advantage of that coupon code and don't jack up the price to just put it on sale. It's too obvious nowadays.
Yeah, and that can hurt you, especially if you're selling on other platforms. You can end up suppressing your own buy box, which you definitely don't want to do. Rob, someone did ask if you have a URL with more info about
I'm looking
the 2%.
for it.
Okay, yeah, and I can share that in the recording email also. I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that we will address that. I also wanted to talk about, Megan, you mentioned now Amazon just rolled out this new sponsored ads off of Amazon. And I know brand stores can offer deals and there are so many different opportunities. Are there areas that you think are worth exploring, particularly for this time of year? Are there things that typically work well for any of you, for yourselves or your customers, clients?
The external traffic piece, I think, is kind of the X factor right now in, excuse me, in holiday gifting. If you're willing to do it, if you're willing to send external traffic to Amazon, you will see the benefit in increased views, brand store views, sales, all of the above. And if you use an attribution link, you can then get a brand referral bonus and kind of get a kickback there. So if you're driving external traffic to Amazon, definitely use an attribution link so it gets back in your pocket. But this really is kind of the Wild West. There's no set formula. Amazon doesn't say, hey, send us all your TikTok traffic. And, TikTok is kind of hating Amazon right now. So it's really up to brands about how they're willing to leverage their various platforms. And the ones that I see do it well are the ones willing to take off some of the restrictions and talk about Amazon in channels that they don't often talk about Amazon in. I had a brand run an SMS text over Prime Day, and we saw the best ROI, brand referral bonus and sales from an SMS text message. I mean, we had no expectations around that. We'd been running TikTok ads, Google ads, and it was the SMS text that was the best performer. So that, and another external traffic driver within the Amazon platform is the manage your customer engagement, email marketing to your posts and your followers. So using that channel to cultivate a customer community within Amazon is then allowing you to communicate directly with those customers and even layer in some promotions. And because those customers are followers of your brand, they're already invested in there, we're seeing great return on those specific type of promos. And I even mentioned kind of those retargeting as well, and getting back in front of those customers that you have that maybe didn't convert with a coupon. And then Gabe also said capitalizing on that reoccurring revenue for consumables. So once you get them in, then look to offer them a reorder coupon or a subscribe and save coupon is something that we've really seen help in that bottom line story, and then turn into reoccurring revenue. So really liking that initial, like, yes, showing the deal, but then being a little bit more intentional around external traffic drivers or long-term promotional strategy on like that reoccurring piece.
Yeah, that's
Becky,
also. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Gabe.
I'm sorry,
No,
keep jumping on each other.
No, I'm a little off topic. Go ahead. You go ahead, Gabe. I'll follow up after you.
I was gonna plug Ecom Engine a little bit, but that's where like follow up after the orders helps a ton, right? Like to Megan's point about we get all this traffic, we get all these sales, and then we use that feedback to now say, as we hit them with those messages, let them know about upcoming promotions or sales or whatever. Do feedback and follow up to make sure that you're getting reviews on products, that you're hearing back from your consumers. Because like to your point earlier too about like if somebody has a bad experience with products or something's not working, use that information from like Fall Prime Day to help you with, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or use that to launch you into the holidays in all of December, because that's going to help you get recurring customers. They're going to share discounts, whatever it might be. And, people love to talk about products. Most of the time they only want to complain. But if you can hit them with positive information and provide them with information through that messaging system, now all of a sudden you get that halo effect kind of from the consumer's voice.
Yeah. So sorry, just to follow up with, be a little more specific about that fee. I clicked, I added a link to this in the answer. Amazon is posting a new fee for members of its seller fulfilled Prime, just to be specific, program where merchants ship their own package, but can include the Prime badge on their listing. Beginning October 1st, members of the program will need to pay Amazon a 2% fee on each sale. So there's the exact quote from Amazon, and I put the link as an answer to the person asking that question.
Thank you. Yeah, and someone's asking, what's the best and most efficient messaging system? And, I'm from Ecom Engine. I'm going to say that Feedback 5 is an exceptional tool. We have a lot of great features, including review alerts. So you can get SMS or email alerts when you get a negative review. If you're brand registered, you can actually go in and offer a refund or ask for more information. It seems like people aren't getting as much information as they would maybe like when they send that message. It is a template through Amazon, but Feedback 5 makes it really easy to automate both the request a review message, which is sent by Amazon and therefore 100% compliant. So you never have to worry about accidentally violating any of the communication guidelines. It's super simple to set up. It takes I think 2 minutes maybe from start to finish to get started. And you can just automate that now and have that going all through Q4. And just as you have this increased order volume, requesting reviews on all of those orders is going to set you up for success in 2024. And so that's really important. Also, I think Gabe was kind of talking about, we have options to customize your messaging as well. So if you'd like to talk more about that, I have Kristen on here with me, and she is fantastic. If you want to reach out and get a demo, or if you have any questions, we're always happy to answer them. Yeah, so on from messaging, it looks like maybe we have another question that came in. Oh, yes, they said Feedback 5. So back on our presentation. Oh, sorry.
You know, Becky, I'm going to mention they should look at Restock Pro also. You really, especially this time of year. I mean, you got to know your inventory. You got to understand your inventory, when you're going to be able to getting stuff in, when you need to get stuff in to be able to handle this big Q4 wave coming in. I think we're covering this a little bit later, but I would also take a look at Restock Pro from Ecom Engine.
Yeah, thanks. We like to try to make things easy. That's, and I know all of you do too. Basically, I think all Amazon service providers at heart, you know, we're here because we really love what sellers do, and we want to make sure that your job's as easy as possible. We know it's not easy to sell on Amazon. And I will just quickly plug, we are currently accepting nominations for our 2023 Seller of the Year Award. So if you have something really cool that's happened in your business this year, we'd love to see your story. I'll include that link in our follow-up message as well. So our next thing I wanted to make sure that we got to was driving external traffic. And Rob, you told me that you have some really cool strategies using AI. And I know that's kind of buzzword right now, and everybody's kind of interested in learning what can they do with AI. So I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. We could go into a lot of different areas. I actually was driving 6 figures a month, every single month from YouTube. Of course, that was pre-AI type stuff. So a lot of the AI that's out there now, it helps with understanding some of these ways to drive external traffic, right? So we were talking a little bit earlier about Pinterest. There's some tools out there that will actually take your product and generate it quickly, like hundreds of images of somebody holding your product in a certain scene. So let's say I always love to use the camping, right? I'm selling a camping stove. So maybe it's sitting on a out in the woods and with a tent behind it, and it's sitting my camping stove sitting on the table, right, with something cooking on it. There's a lot of really cool AI tools out there that can generate these images quickly. And somebody's going to ask for a specific one. There's too many, really. There's a lot of them out there, so I suggest do a little homework on those. Same with YouTube. YouTube is still so undervalued. People just are not taking advantage of it. I always like to say people go and shop on Amazon, right? But when they want to follow up on your product or your brand, they're going to search on Google. And guess what? Google owns YouTube. So of course, if you have something about your product or your brand, it's going to fill in that space. It's going to become that top search. So there's ways to utilize keywords, titles, descriptions. Heck, ChatGPT, for instance, I always recommend the AIPRM Chrome extension. AIPRM. I know somebody's going to ask. Chrome extension. And that will have pre-built already telling you how to basically write that. So if you don't know how to use ChatGPT and you're kind of like trying to figure it out, AIPRM already has these prompts written for you. There's 4,000 of them. You literally just search YouTube and it'll say, there's one that says how to write a YouTube description, what's your topic about, and it'll create that YouTube extension. There's even ways to use that to create a script if you're not sure how to do a video, or you want to understand what should I say in this video. You can literally tell it the topic that you want to talk about, and basically it'll write an entire script for you to do on YouTube. The cool thing is everybody's going to probably already have a video on their listing. If you don't, you're way behind. Take that, build out a YouTube channel, put that video on there, and then build out some actual different videos based on your product, how it's being used, and drop those videos into TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere you can put those. Threads even is becoming big now, not necessarily for videos, but it's becoming a big thing. Pay attention. There is AI to help for everything out there, including creating all these social media posts about your product and your brand. So I could go really deep into it, but we'll keep it kind of high level. ChatGPT seems to be the central point around all of it. The AIPRM is a great way to just kind of instantly get started. It's free, both ChatGPT, which is openai.com, or open.ai or openai.com. I can't remember. You'll find it. Just put ChatGPT. Everybody's pointing to it. But check out the AIPRM to kind of get you a really quick boost and really understand how to use some of that ChatGPT for Amazon listings, how to reply to negative reviews if you want to reply to them using, using Feedback 5. How to use YouTube, different social media type posts. We integrated a lot at Getida. Every one of our marketing people are using some sort of AI tool to help with what we do. So take advantage of that. I not to go too deep into it, but anything specific, Becky, that you'd like to know?
No, I think that's a great start.
Excellent.
Actually, I said no, and then I immediately had a thought,
Go for
which
it.
is
Throw it
if
at
you're
me.
a brand, like let's say Megan has a beauty brand that has some really awesome TikTok content. Can you repurpose that on YouTube? Would you recommend doing that?
Yes, 100%. So I would actually probably go from TikTok to Instagram because the formatting is going to be almost the same. There is a couple AI tools that will actually take your YouTube or videos you created and they'll slice it up and make it in the correct formats for both TikTok, Instagram, anywhere you're putting it. Even LinkedIn, even though LinkedIn's probably not where your consumer's looking. But I kind of always feel that you never know where somebody's going to look to find your brand. So why not utilize putting it on all platforms? You know, that's what I did even back in the early 2000s when I was running my company. As soon as social media, probably 07 on with YouTube, as soon as I saw Facebook come out, I jumped on there. I started promoting my products on there. I would take advantage because you just don't know. I mean, you probably know your consumer and their age range and where they're at, but you just never know, right? Like they could be on multiple platforms. They may be looking for something and searching somewhere. And don't leave out Google search, right? Google Ads, Google search. Even though that's not technically a social media platform, that's still people are like ignoring it. And you know, there's a lot of advantage there, especially if you're creating a video that's talking about your product. You maybe could utilize that video in a social media post that gets picked up by Google and somebody's searching for it. So yeah, that would be what I would suggest. Definitely take advantage of all those platforms.
Awesome. Yeah, Megan, Gabe, anything about driving external traffic that you want to touch on that we haven't already covered?
I
Let you
know
go
for
first.
us, again, from the agency standpoint of looking at long-term success, outside sources of traffic are huge for ranking. You know, there's two things that are the key indicators of growth and like seeing sales revenue increasing, and it's traffic and then it's conversions. If we can pull in outside sources of traffic and then it converts into a sale, then that's huge. You know, Amazon's algorithm is going to look at that. They're obviously tracking where that traffic's coming from, even though they don't always share it with us. So if they can see that it came from, you know, social media, it came from a Google app, wherever it was, and it converts into traffic, they, you know, we always talk about that as like you stole that sale from somebody else, right? They didn't click on some other search result page on Google or any other search engine. They went to Amazon and bought your product. And so now you've stolen that customer from somebody else, which, you know, let's say you got 1 point for every click, that's probably worth 2 or 3 points in Amazon's eyes. And so you grow a lot faster in the ranking system by driving outside traffic. So again, it's investing in your growth. Running those ads on other channels and other markets is going to help you to just grow your Amazon overall.
Amazon is the biggest ad buyer on Google. And so if you're not thinking about how those two link, you're missing a huge opportunity there. We're working with some of our brands with a partner to make sure that the traffic coming from Google is going to a brand store page or going to a specific detail page instead of Amazon search results. So external traffic is huge. Over Prime Day, I saw a lot of conversation on Threads about different deals. And I know Threads is a new platform, but I was really surprised by how many brands, influencers, and just consumers were talking about fall Prime Day deals. So don't discount any new channels. Try it all. All traffic is good traffic, like Gabe said.
Yeah. I'm going to mention, check out Amazon Attribution. So Amazon Attribution is an advertising analytic measurement solution that gives marketing insight into your non-Amazon marketing, basically. So this external traffic we're talking about, and that's within Amazon. So take a look at Amazon Attribution as you're kind of, if you're looking for some data on this external traffic and how it's working.
When you sign up for Amazon Attribution, you can register and get kickback. So that's the brand referral bonus. You absolutely should be using that for external traffic because it's money back in your pocket. So get the data back from Amazon and then get some money back in your pocket too. Absolutely.
There you go.
And we have a question. Is there a comparison point in cost between PPC and outside traffic?
More so what you can report with it, to be honest with you. Amazon Attribution is a great tool, but it does have some limitations. If a customer clicks on your Amazon link in a social platform and it doesn't open in the app, Amazon will struggle to count that as an attribution. So I do think attribution and external traffic doesn't replace PPC. It's in addition to, and then you have to know that your external traffic will have less of an ROI because there's additional clicks to get there on that customer journey. So it definitely doesn't replace it, and it should be in addition to.
Yeah, and Megan, do you feel, I mean, I kind of feel like that's something, you know, Amazon's notorious for starting something and then growing it, right? And I think that the Amazon attribution is going to be one of those things that it will grow. Like you'll be able to see more, do more with it as they allow you. And as it kind of grows, that program grows. And I think it's a fairly new, let's call it within the last 6 to 12 months program, if I'm not mistaken, or tool.
Initially, they didn't give sales results, and in those first 6 months, they initially gave sales. So it really is absolutely something they're building out as they're trying to get more external traffic to their site, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and not to be presumptuous, but we are coming up on Accelerate, and oftentimes we get some really good ad news coming out of there. So, you know, fingers crossed, maybe there will be some additional data for you this Q4. We have another question. How should brands use Prime Big Deal Days to set up for the Turkey 5 holidays? Example, what creative assets are needed? What is the launch plan, etc., for a low to medium scenario to test it first? How to set up campaigns with relevant high converting keywords in your mix, etc. So,
hey, Megan, that's a little over my head. So I'm looking at you too.
So what are we doing as our test?
Yeah, Gabe.
This is the plan. This is the roadmap. Gabe, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, sorry, there's a lot of questions in there, so I'm trying to read through it and break it down. Yeah, as far as preparing for, so like creative assets, if you're running ads, you can obviously create specific assets for those ads. So if you have brand registry and you have access to like sponsored brands, sponsored display, then creating, you know, unique videos and little snippets and clips and even like infographics to run in some of those ads, and then even adding those to your listings is really huge. The thing that we see, some people get a little too overboard with that and they go crazy and they like revamp their whole listing with like Christmas trees and lights and stuff. And it's like, you don't need to do that. You don't have to go crazy. But yes, if you are running a special promotion or something for the holidays, then do that through your advertising more than anything, because that'll capture people's attention. It catches their eye as they're scrolling through the pages. So I think that's really important as far as assets are concerned. And then with the launch plan, I think it goes back to what we touched on earlier. You know, you really should be planning now for inventory and setting up coupons. Like Rob talked about, test your ads, make sure you have the right types of keywords in those campaigns, both organically and through your paid side, so that when it's time and you get to that kind of 2 weeks prior to the event, that you start releasing and launching all that information so that you can gain that momentum. But for us, you know, we start talking to our clients months in advance of like, here's what we want to achieve in Q4. So we've got to start prepping inventory. We've got to start prepping listings. We've already got our design team building out content and different things for them, so that, you know, one kind of trick and tip that we like to do is, if we are going to get really fancy, we usually do it on a storefront, where we'll build a unique page on the storefront for the holidays, right? So if it's a Black Friday, Cyber Monday page, or a Christmas page, or whatever it's going to be, we'll build out that page, because you can quickly turn that on and off. And so it's not like it's going to be there all year, but we can drive traffic to it. It's driving traffic to those individual listings and products that we're promoting. And then we can turn it off later, or we can change it into a, you know, new year, new you page for the next 3 months. And then it's, you know, back to school or Father's Day or Mother's Day, you know, that it becomes kind of our promotional holiday page, and we can just drive traffic through that individual page. Let's see.
I'm so happy you said that, because like Amazon is more of an evergreen platform, right? The longer your product is on Amazon, the better it does. So if you just are looking at seasonal, you're not giving yourself the full run rate. But that doesn't mean you can't customize your graphics along the way. So brand store, and even I saw a banner of brand stories calling out deals. Something that simple. Q4 is going to be all deals. It's not just going to be holiday. And then you can, to Gabe's point, repurpose a deals page on your brand store every quarter. You are always likely going to have deals. There's always going to be some sort of relevant period that I think that's a great way to customize your images and assets for holiday without doing too much lift, because you can overcreate. You can give your creative team all of the tasks, but really, is it going to help drive traffic or conversion? Highly not, unless you're directing them straight to a deals page on the brand store. I really like that idea. And then going between deals days and T5, you can really like where do you want to put your big bets? I'm seeing some brands, hey, we want to play in fall prime or in big deal days because we don't think anybody else is going to play there. And we know T5 gets really competitive. So set your own personal goals and test if, hey, we want to go big here, low here, or maybe we want to test a bigger discount with select SKUs for fall prime and then pulse back over T5. I don't think there's a perfect there's obviously not a perfect answer, and there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. It really is just setting a goal for your business and then benchmarking and then returning back to that and saying, okay, this is what we did last year. Was it successful, and how can we maximize it next year?
I love these tips, by the way. You guys are killing it because these tips could be used year round, not just Q4 necessarily. You know, and I love all these tips that we're giving out. Sorry, Gabe, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, for as difficult and sometimes complex as Amazon can be, it can also be very simple if you break it down into numbers and look at data, right? One thing that we'll do is when we set goals with clients is, you know, let's say they're doing $50,000 a month in sales and they want to get to $80,000. We can go look, and there's, like Rob mentioned, there's tools everywhere out there to look at data. You can understand keyword search volume. You can see how many sessions you're getting. And we'll look at things like, what's our value per session, right? If I'm averaging $50,000 a month in sales and I average X number of sessions, I can calculate what's the value every time somebody looks at one of my product pages, and then just reverse engineer and say, if I want to be at 80,000, I need to add roughly this many more sessions. So which keywords am I not ranking for? Which keywords am I close to the top 5 or top 10 in? Which ones am I maybe not running effective ad campaigns for? And go get aggressive with those particular keywords. Because if you bump those onto the first page and it's, let's say it gets 2,000 searches a month and you convert it at 10% conversion, now all of a sudden you just got an extra, 100 sales or whatever it might be, right? You start to add those additional sessions and you can basically just watch it, right? It's just like pulling the right levers at the right time will add those sales. And to Rob's point, that's what we do all year long, not just during the holidays, but usually during the holidays, we know, okay, traffic is going to 2, 3, 4X. So it's going to be a lot faster movement. Then the first 9 months of the year, it might take 3 to 4 months to see that growth. And so, invest in tools, invest in some of these softwares that are out there that will show you keyword traffic. They'll show you conversion rates. They'll show you what the average cost per click is for a lot of these terms. And then you can reverse engineer your budget and say, okay, if I'm willing to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month in ads, but I know I want to grow by this much, I'm going to have to bite the bullet and pay $5 or $6 grand during the holidays, but I should see this particular jump in sales, right? So if you can do a little bit of math or create a quick spreadsheet, like we have lots of spreadsheets and calculators that we use where we can just show a client, like, look, let's set realistic expectations. You're here and you want to be there. You have to grow by this much. And it's not realistic to think that's going to happen in a month or 2 months or even 6 months based on where you're at. But here's the pathway to profitability and here's the pathway to get you to where you want to be.
And if all that math makes your head hurt, hire an agency because that is what they do all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Gabe and Megan, do you guys take advantage of, or have you seen where there's national days for everything, right? There's National Taco Day, National Hot Dog, right? Have you guys seen that maybe some clients are not taking advantage of this? Like I kind of was just thinking, like, if I sold pizza cutters, there, of course, there's all the holidays and there's certain times that it's going to sell better, but there's National Pizza Day. I would ramp up for that. I would get ready for that. That's just one extra holiday you could throw in there. Have you guys seen anything like that or taken advantage of any of those? Just curious. Not to get too off topic here.
No, I think we were talking before we started about dogs, right? We've all got dogs and the daycare for our pets. National Dog Day was, I think it was last week or earlier this week. Yep. I can't remember now, but we ran a bunch of big promotions we have a handful of clients that sell pet supplies, right? And it's just, that everyone's posting about it on social. It's popping up in news feeds and things like that. And so all of a sudden, if we were running ads on outside sources of traffic to pull back into our listings, we can take advantage of those things. So being aware of that is huge. The other side of that is, like, we have a client who's getting ready to go on Good Morning America and pitch their product. So we know that there's going to be this huge influx in traffic for their brand. But we also listen to things like that and say, hey, our competitor is going to be on Good Morning America. Or we heard through the grapevine they're going to. So let's ramp up our ad spend because everyone's going to be searching generic terms around that particular product. Or let's go really aggressive towards their brand name with some of these ads and try and steal some of that traffic, right? So there's a lot of those events and things that, yeah, you know, all these things apply to all year round. But yeah, find those little days and weeks and events that you can take advantage of for sure.
I like playing in those days because it doesn't compete with the other side of the business, and the traffic that they're putting out on their social promoting National Dog Day will trickle over into Amazon. And so even if they don't want to put an additional budget or lift around it, if we talk to them about, hey, we'll just make a coupon and we'll just get that spillover, is a great way to kind of low risk in those national days if you're not willing to invest and play on Amazon, and just say like, we'll just use what you're doing in external and catch that spillover on Amazon in those non-tentpole. We just did lipstick day for one of my brands and saw like $5 ROI on that because we had a coupon. Did we increase our budget on our ad spend? No, but we had a lot of external traffic drivers from the brand supporting our promotion during that time. And when you do that in collaboration, you will see lift without having to go 40, 50% off just to capitalize on that sale.
Yeah. We are coming up on the end of time, and we had a couple more things I wanted to make sure that we got to. So one of them I think is really critical to everything that we've been talking about is staying in stock, right? Because if you're running all these great promotions, you've got these ads going, and then you run out of stock, all you're doing is handing all of that work that you've done over to your competitor who is also bidding on the same keywords and is coming up with a product that's available. So you really, you know, those dates that we talked about in the beginning, I can include those in the email as well, but, you know, making sure that you're in stock at FBA, that you're in stock at your own warehouse if you fulfill FBM or seller fulfilled Prime. Something that we saw in COVID that I think has always been important is just really having a diverse strategy for fulfillment. So if you're out of stock at FBA, I mean, we know that there can be delays with receiving, there can be, you know, any number of issues that arise. So making sure that you're always able to fulfill orders, and just really make sure that you're there for the customers that are looking for your products. So everything that you can do to stay in stock, that's kind of the name of the game for Q4 for us. From the Restock Pro side, I mean, also year round, but staying in stock is, you know, what we're really trying to help sellers focus on in the next few months and beyond. And then Rob, I wanted to talk a little bit, just because we haven't had a chance to talk too much about Getida, but I got to know you all because you're in the FBA reimbursement space. And I was wondering if there was anything that you would mention as a proactive measure or anything that sellers should be planning to do in, say, January related to FBA storage and, you know, whether their fees were correct and all of that. So could you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Right before I do that, though, if you're not aware, Ecom Engine has a free trial of Restock Pro.
Oh, yeah.
So head on over to Ecom Engine, sign up for that free trial. I would do that. Yeah, just to give you a little bit about Getida and how we can help. I would actually sign up with Getida right now, not necessarily January, even though we can go back up to 18 months. And then on certain situations, we go back up to only 60 days or 90 days. So what we do is we help with anytime there's any issues in the warehouse. So if you get your merchandise gets lost, damaged, broken, stolen, inbound type issues, even things as far as Amazon FBA ships out your item and the customer ends up getting a refund. Let's say they get on chat and they don't ship that item back. So since we're on the stock issue, let's kind of stick with the, you know, issues in warehouse. Things happen. Amazon's going to move your inventory all around the US to make sure it can fulfill that FBA. And there's problems are going to happen. Somebody on a forklift's going to smash it into a wall or something like that and turn into an issue. So Lisa just dropped into the chat for first $400 for free to try us out. So yeah, any issue like that, what we do is we can definitely help you go back 18 months. So yeah, coming up, these warehouses are going to get packed. There's going to be a lot of inventory in there and people are going to be moving stuff around. A pick and pack guy, I've had this happen. I ordered one item. The guy sent me one bag of 10. Because they didn't open the bag and put each individual item in the bin. I kept my one, I shipped the rest back. But so whoever I helped out on that, you're welcome. But those things happen. It just things happen, right? So I would be doing that now because those are issues that we'll be able to address as they're happening, as you're going through your Q4, and we'll be able to help you out and get some money back. It's strictly performance-based. Everybody's so used to the cell phone, $30 a month type thing. No. We only charge a small fee if we get your refund back. If we spend 8 hours trying to get your refund back and we don't get it for you, it doesn't cost you a dime. And plus, like Lisa just dropped in the chat, we'll give you that $400 in FBA reimbursements to give us a try. So that's something I would do now, because again, if you have no issues through Q4, great. It doesn't cost you anything. Could you do it in January? Yes. We actually start seeing beginning of March, people scrambling because we can only go back to 3 months, on certain issues. But I would just do it now. Absolutely. Yeah. Take advantage of that, but also do that free trial for Restock Pro over there at Ecom Engine.
And then the last thing I wanted to just mention really quickly is protecting your listings. We've got some really cool new features here at Ecom Engine related to search suppression, buy box alerts, including for a suppressed buy box. So that's like we were talking about before. If you sell on Walmart and your price is lower on Walmart and Amazon takes away your buy box because your price is higher on Amazon, we'll let you know so that you can go in and fix that. Because if your listings aren't available for customers to find, you're not going to make those sales. And once again, you're just doing a lot of work, building a lot of momentum. I think, like we're kind of coming up on the Super Bowl for all of us here with Q4, and you don't want to fumble at the last minute. So just make sure that you have things in place. If you have a lot of listings, we have a really easy way for you to have that 24/7 monitoring, and I'm happy to share more about that. And then I'll just open it up really quickly if there's anything any of you wanted to make sure we get to before we wrap up, because I know we're at time.
Go ahead,
So how
Megan.
about best advice for Q4? Just the final takeaway you want everyone to have.
Leave this webinar, start now, create some goals, try something different, and create a benchmark. That's going to be my Q4 recommendations.
Yeah, Gabe.
Yeah, I would say stay aggressive. Like Megan said, and you talked about staying in stock. Also stay in budget. Make sure that if you are going to run ads and you're going to be aggressive or you're going to run coupons, watch it like a hawk. Make sure you're paying attention, because we've seen people run out of budget by 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, even though they doubled their budget for the day. And so don't be afraid to spend some money, because the halo effect, it'll pay dividends over the next several months, if not years.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with utilize tools and resources. I think that's a key thing, right? Utilize some of the tools we just talked about, Ecom Engine, resources like Megan and Gabe, Gatita, obviously. Utilize some of those to make your Q4 easier, right? Like if there's resources and tools out there to make your life easier and just concentrate on making money for your business, I would be utilizing those. That's my key takeaway for Q4.
Love it. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I knew this would be a great one because I know you all have a lot of awesome things to say, and I hope that everyone got a lot out of attending. Like I said, I will be sending out the recording, and we do have some special offers, so I'll include links to everyone here. And Rob, I'll just go ahead and put that $400 reimbursement link that Lisa put in the chat in the email for a follow-up in case anyone's interested. Yeah, so thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.